biggest things that came out of the economic survey today, sir, which talked about the state of the economy, which talked about, the kind of growth rates that India, it is projecting. It's about 6.5% to 7% on a base where you've already seen about 7.3% of growth rate. So you're talking about a higher growth trajectory for India. As someone who understands and has that 30,000 feet view of both the world economy and the Indian economy, how do you see these growth rates, and also what you think could be the potential challenges that we sort of need to keep in mind?
Well, the world economy did better than people thought in the last year and a half. And I think part of that is the US did better than people expected. But the other two countries that did better than the math that was done earlier were India and China. And India had the highest growth rate of any of those three at 7.5% odd. We're actually, as the bank, we're quite constructive about India's future growth rates. And the reason for that is that combination of things I talked about. The investment that's going into infrastructure, more needs to be done, but don't discount the impact of what has been done. You know what I mean? Yes. And so there's, like logistics, for example, there's work to be done on smoothing the flow of logistics. There's work to be done on bringing down the cost of logistics as a percentage. But India has made huge progress, and I think that's a big start there. There's more to be done.
14%, we need to bring it down to single digits.
Although some have calculated that the 14 is not right, and the actual number is lower because the manner in which that calculation happens. But yes, it's not, it is still in double digits. It needs to come down to the high single digits to be truly competitive as a base. The second part is the skilling and education part. You have the raw talent, you have the numbers. Can we convert that talent and numbers into a productive workforce that powers India's growth in the coming period? And I think you can't do that without both education and healthcare. They have to be delivered together. And then the aspect of business reforms, honestly, I think the government is quite keen to make real progress in it. This gets into politics, and I'm not into the politics, so I don't want to discuss that.
That's okay. But the one reform that you think is closest to your heart that you would want to
originally, it was GST. And I'm just delighted it happened because I faced it personally. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to your deceased finance minister at that time, who drove it, Jaitley. But subsequently, the support from the party and from the PM and from other parties as well. You couldn't have got that through without a commonality of interest. I think all you're doing with land and labor reform is going to be very important. Because, when you want to set up businesses, the ability to open a business with ease is really important. The simpler you can make it to do that, if it takes you 100 permits to open a hotel, that's a pain. If it takes you 20, which still covers what you need as a society to ensure that people don't do the wrong thing. You got to do the right thing. But within that, the lesser, the easier you can make it, the quicker off you are. Digitization is a big opportunity. You've got the highway built. Can you use that highway to do even more is the kind of things that I think we can work on. And then, I think signing this sovereign investor dispute treaty would be amazing, because you'll get foreign investors feeling confident that they can further invest in India. These are all, none of them by themselves is a boundary shot. But each of them is the singles and twos that you're adding onto the board in a 20-over game that allow you to play the boundary shots at the end. You got to keep the ball going and the scoreboard moving. And I think that's the way to think about it, as compared to, the hit for the fences.